Hello, folks. Welcome to the HireMyVA Team and Business Building Podcast brought to you by ugozi.com. In this podcast and at HireMyVA, we help you to reclaim your freedom through hiring and thriving with personal assistance, with virtual assistants, without breaking the bank, without breaking your bank. And that's the most important bank.
Right.
All right. It's been a little bit since we recorded one of these. I'm muffed up.
That's all right. We got the important stuff out, David.
I muffed the punt. I'm going to be benched, I guess, by the coach.
No, you're good. You're good. Dave, it is good to see you, handsome Dave.
It's great to see you, Larry, and to do this again.
Yeah.
So we've got an interesting topic.
We do.
They're all interesting, but here's a good one.
All right, let's hear it.
So the question is, how do I encourage my team members towards personal growth and development? And this comes from one of our amazing Flashpoints.
Yeah.
And we've got the book that you can buy on store.ugozi.com, or you can sign up at ugozi.com/daily if you want to get this, and it'll come to you every day. But this one was really triggered a question from somebody.
Yeah.
So you want me to read it?
Sure. As I remember correctly, this came out like near the end of the year, as we're wrapping up the year in the Flashpoints book. So why don't you go ahead and read it, and we'll get everybody on the same page. I don't recall exactly how it was, but it was basically about how do you get the best out of people, what contributions they make. So yeah, go ahead. Why don't you read that if you got that in front of you?
Okay, let's do this. So here's the title. The best contribution we can make to our communities is challenging ourselves and teammates toward personal growth and development.
That's it.
Now, for you guys who maybe not be familiar with the Flashpoints, they have a title like that, and then there's about 130 words to get us to really just start thinking. It's a flash. It's a real quick moment in time to help you to journal, to get your thoughts thinking about how you can improve your life or your team, all kinds of different subjects.
Yeah.
So you want me to read the rest of it?
Let's do it.
Okay, here it is. As our teams and dreams grow and sometimes fail, it's important to remember that we're getting closer to our cause. Too often, we're so caught up in our own personal and professional development and training programs that we forget to cast our eyes and energy on the development of those around us.
Yeah.
Check priorities and ensure that the team has sufficient tools and resources to act successfully. Give them ample opportunities to learn and be driven by desire to serve others. Most importantly, ask teammates what they hope to accomplish by being part of our tribe. This would be using private one-on-one meetings, confidential surveys, group meetings, etc. Then seek to make this their reality. So here's the closing question in it. How can you help make the hopes and dreams of your teammates a reality?
This is good. Dave, I remember writing these, and sometimes I would write these from personal experience, conundrums I'm trying to figure out in my own head. But I remember early on in my leadership and management career, and then amplified in my military career, and then during my hotel career, where we'd go in and take over or acquire new hotels, you would look at past performance of team members. If you look at them, you think, well, gosh, they've got a lot of capacity. Why do they continue to fall short of the stated goals?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or you say, like, think about in this is what came to mind for some reason. Think about somebody who's trying to develop a basketball team, okay? And you've got one basketball team who's playing in a big college arena, and they've got great coaches, and you got the other team playing out on a dirt court, and they don't even have a basketball, but they're just they're running plays kind of thing. You can't expect that team that doesn't even have the basketball but it's running plays to actually get in there and really compete with the college level team, right? Well, why? Because they don't have the tools. It's not that they don't have the capacity, but they don't have the tools, right? I remember going in to a hotel years ago that we had acquired, and you look at the online and the guest reviews, and they talk about dirt on the top of fans, and the ledges of pictures in the room had dust on them. Recurring theme over and over and over again. And then when we get there to actually acquire the hotel, because we do that because we want to do some value add stuff. how can we improve the property, the operation, make more money by tweaking a few things? So we go in and we meet with the team. And as it turns out, I think, without exaggeration, I think the tallest room attendant was 5'5". Okay. So when we started asking them, listen, we're not judging, but we're saying, here are all the reviews. Why is there dust on top of the fans? Why is there dust on top of the armoires? There used to be armoires in guest rooms on top of the things. They said, oh, we know it, but we can't reach it. One of the very basic tools in the room attendant or housekeeping department are what we call dust wands, where they can reach up and dust those things. But the manager of that property never gave them the tools to do it. Right. And so we, as leaders, Dave, as managers, we have a moral obligation to help our team members reach their fullest potential. Right. This is what I believe. The Gallup State of the American Workforce Survey bears this out year after year. One of the primary reasons team members leave their jobs is because they don't feel like they're being professionally developed.
Right.
They expect us as business owners, as managers, as leaders, to be helping them become better versions of themselves. Mm-hmm. Innately, we may not have the words to articulate this, but innately, we all know that if we want to do great things, we have to be great people. If we want to do great things, we have to be great professionals, right? But we don't know how to do that sometimes. Too often, Dave, managers or leaders look at their team members as like a water well or a cup of water, right? Imagine a water well, Dave, where every day you put your bucket down into the well multiple times and you pull it back up and there's water. You keep doing it over and over again. But if that well is not being spring fed, somehow, ultimately one day that well will dry up.
Right.
And we need to look at our team members like that. We can't just take from them without depositing some stuff back into them. Right. And so I think that's one of the questions that we need to be asking here is, how do we help our team members reach their fullest potential? Right. Well, first of all, why do we want to do that? Right. Well, because ultimately, I think, Dave, if people feel like they're making a positive contribution to your business, they feel better about themselves. They're going to perform better. They're going to perform more efficiently. Right. Your business is going to run more efficiently. You're going to have higher revenues, lower cost. That's a great business model right there to have, right?
Absolutely.
But also you feel better about yourselves. I still get texts today from people I managed, led, or were involved with 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and they say, oh my gosh, one of the biggest mistakes I made was leaving your organization. You know, I should have stayed, because, I felt you cared about me. I felt like, we were making a positive contribution, whatever it might be. And that means so much, so there is the selfishness that comes out of it. If I'm being honest, I feel good when I'm helping other people get closer to their fullest potential.
Right.
And we can talk about this, like, how do you do it? Well, I think, Dave, you need to budget for it.
For sure.
It's got to be a line item in your budget. Some organizations call it we call it team member development. Some call it employee development. There ought to be a line item in there every month where you're dedicating X number of dollars to training, professional development, meetings, whatever it is. What we try to do in our organization is every month when we have a team meeting, we do at least 2 skills trainings as well. One to help them be better at their job or their role, but also there's the mandatory safety trainings and that kind of thing, right? But beyond that, for our managers and supervisors, Dave, I want to share with something with you. You've seen this before, but we got very intentional and we developed these, I don't know if you can see this, these peak potential packs is what we call them, for our managers and supervisors. And every quarter they would get one of these in areas of their skill. So if it's like a general manager, then they're going to be getting these boxes in the topics of marketing, finance, operations, team member development, motivation, inspiration, those kind of things. This one happens to be called Carrots and Sticks Don't Work. And in it, what we would do is we would put, there would be a book that the topic that quarter would be based on. This month is a book called Carrots and Sticks Don't Work. But then what I would do is find podcast or recordings or articles that support that, and we would put them in front in this guide here. And then what we would do is we would give a summary of the podcast. We'd give a summary of the article, a summary of the book. But then as they go through, there's an action guide as well that they fill out as they go. And then what they would need to do is take a little quiz at the end of it. It was our dedication to team member development. And then there was kind of a referral guide as well. We found that this is a great thing. People want to feel like they're being professionally developed, right? And so I think it's very important. And it's just, in the end, I'm sorry that I'm kind of monopolizing this so far, Dave, but I do believe that over the long haul, you see a lot higher levels of loyalty and productivity when your team members feel like you are absolutely invested in their growth. Most people don't join an organization to stay in the one gig that they were hired for. Well, people have higher aspirations for themselves.
Yeah, your rock stars won't want to stay.
No, they won't. They won't.
So there's a natural question that comes about with what you showed us, this peak potential pack.
Okay.
The natural question is, where can I get one of those? And the answer is you can't. You cannot right now.
You got to create it. You got to create your own. However, we have had people, Dave, this is a shameless plug, who wanted us to start creating this like a box delivery, like a monthly or quarterly box delivery service. And that's one of the things we should launch. But we did this for our organization because this was a need, right? Your business should represent who you are as a person. You know, Dave, you and I are natural. We naturally want people around us to grow and develop. We thrive from that, right? And we know the culture. So the books, the articles, the podcast share the same core values that we do as an organization. Okay. So if you're going to put one of these together, just make sure that it supports your organization's core values, your vision, and your mission for the organization. Don't just put something together haphazardly, because you may be teaching your team members the wrong things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of people will also, as you are, people want to take advantage of the white glove service because they want it done for them.
Yeah.
And I would imagine people would want this done for them as well to a certain extent. So Larry, maybe we need to step it up and do this kind of thing.
We've been hearing this for years, haven't we not? Yes. However, if you have a VP of HR or VP of professional development or whatever it is that you call that in your organization, this would be a great project for them. I tell you, we put a lot of months into this before it was ever launched.
Right.
And so it's not something to say, hey, by next week, we honestly, we started with like a book club, right? We just started with that before we kind of really rounded it out to turn it into what it is today.
Yeah. So if you want to do this for your team members, you can do it on an individual basis. You don't have to have a formal box, and it really starts with asking them, having the conversation with them, asking them questions about what they might be interested in.
Yep.
One of the things that we're doing, Larry, on our team this quarter is I'm telling everybody, and including myself, because folks remember it starts at the top, is what is your personal development goal for this quarter? Now, of course, it can be, ideally, it needs to be related to the business, and it really should be, but what is it that you want to learn or to grow in, a skill that you think it will help you in the business, in your career as a skill? Because ultimately, letting the team members choose, that will end up coming back and helping your company.
It's such a great point, Dave. I remember years ago at my former organization when I was in San Francisco, we offered life skills training.
Mm-hmm.
Much of our workforce, about a third of our workforce, were immigrants, right? First generation immigrants. Many of them did not speak English.
Yeah.
Okay. So we offered language training. This is free, by the way. We offered how to go in and deal with the bank, those things that would just make their life easier. The easier their lives are, the less stress they have in their lives, the better team members they were.
Oh, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a quick question about this, Larry, is we talked about allocating money in your budget to do this personal development, to allow people to spend money on it. And you talked about it every month and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think an important aspect is to allow them some time as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. During the training, they get paid.
So really this training needs to be on company time.
Yeah. This peak potential pack in our organization, this goes to salaried team members. Okay. But yes, training should be on company time for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so if you wanted to do something with a team member, you wanted to start having them do a little bit more personal development. Larry, we've got a few questions that you can start asking them to help them create their own plan. And of course, you should be doing this in conjunction with them. Don't leave it totally up to them. Work with them on it, because to be honest, it's very, very unfamiliar with a lot of people. It's like, wow, what's personal development?
Yeah.
So many people aren't exposed to that. So maybe like the first question would be, what do you see yourself doing in a couple of years?
And by the way, these are questions that start during the interview process.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And then during the introductory or probationary process, then during quarterly annual review process. This is an ongoing dynamic conversation, by the way, not a one and done type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a really good question, Dave. What other questions do you have?
Well, let's see, we've got a couple more. What training do you need to improve your position performance? So that's what we talk a lot about, is giving them the tools that they need. One of the things that we just had today with a client of our HireMyVA white glove service is we had a Thrive meeting. And I won't name who this is, but one of the first questions that I asked this person was, and I don't know why it came to me, but do you have a second monitor? And the person is like, no, I don't.
Computer monitor we're talking about.
Computer monitor, yeah, and she didn't. So it's like part of this starts with you and asking yourself these same type of questions. But the idea here is that, what training do you need to improve your position performance? There's some overall things that people can have and use that will improve their performance. And if you help them improve their performance, there's going to be more satisfaction, more enjoyment, and more development.
It's interesting, Dave, because I don't remember which podcast number it was, but we did a podcast on this, how to improve efficiency and productivity in your life. And that was one of them. And most people are absolutely surprised when they find out, I forget what the stat is now, about how much more productive you are when you have 2 monitors or 3 monitors versus 1 monitor. And how many times have people said, I did that and oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Right. And so that's interesting that came up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, another question might be is, what areas of learning excite you the most? And how does that work out for you? In other words, because some people, my kids, I go back to my kids sometimes too, Larry, is that like Brian, my youngest son, is he struggles with some online classes sometimes because he's such a personable guy. Yeah. So he likes to go in person and be there and study. That works best for him. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about asking that question, what areas of learning excite you the most, but how are you best learning in those areas?
Yeah.
And what are some of the parameters? Do you want to take a full day to dive into it? Or is it, an hour every day for a couple of weeks? How will that work for you?
Well, that, Dave, kind of leads to another question that I think naturally comes up is, if you're the manager or you're the leader asking these questions, you need to ask, how can I help or how can I facilitate this learning, right? Because they may have all these great aspirations, but if you're not giving them the opportunity to do that, that's going to be a problem. This, as you had mentioned earlier, this needs to be kind of a co-created process.
Yes.
With them, and not just them driving it or just you driving it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that's also important is you got to give your team members certain options and make sure that they feel comfortable choosing those options, because you may say, you can purchase a course here or buy a book here and we'll pay you back. But they may be thinking in their minds, I don't want the company to spend that money, so I'm just going to look at the free stuff that's out there on the internet. you may have to double down on emphasizing to them that, yeah, there is this budget. We want to spend it on this purpose.
Yeah.
Especially in the Filipino culture, they they want to do everything they can a lot of times to please you, and they think, well, if I'm not spending that money, if I'm saving them that money, then they'll think better of me. But that may not necessarily be true.
Well, Dave, that's a good reminder. Sometimes you have to spend money to actually see the results. Saving money is only one part of the computation when it comes to running an efficient and profitable organization.
Yes.
Sometimes we have to actually invest money into our team members to see increased productivity. Mm-hmm. No one saves their way, and all you do is save. Say, you don't save your way to wealth.
That's right.
Do you understand? There's got to be an investment either in time, knowledge, tools, something. Okay. Just saving money, not spending money is only one ingredient in the recipe.
Yeah. And Larry, the business climate continues to, oh my gosh, it just continues to change. The expertise that you need in certain areas continues to grow. And so you've got to develop your team if you want to, at a minimum, if you want to stay current, to stay where you're at. Yeah, if you have aspirations to really grow, really got to invest the money to do that.
Yeah, agreed.
And the time.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
One of the things though that I think they want to end with along these lines is, if they're going to be doing this, you're going to have them do it, and there's responsibility on their part. You really would like to have them put that into a SMART goal.
Yeah, yeah. Talk's cheap.
Yeah.
You could sit there and talk all day long about what you're going to do. But if you don't actually put some parameters around it, that I'm going to do this by that date, usually it doesn't happen. The can just gets kicked down the road. And a year later, you're still wondering why are we not making improvement in this area? And the great thing is, in our program, we have tools on how to develop and write SMART goals. Isn't that shocking?
Wow. Well, and and guess what's going to also have to happen is somebody in your organization has got to monitor the progress.
That's right.
Yeah. And you guys had in the peak performance pack, you had a survey at the end or a quiz.
Yep.
Well, somebody needs to monitor the fact that they need to take this, and there's got to be a little bit of follow-up.
That's right.
Because if you don't inspect, what is it you say? You don't inspect, you won't. What is it?
You have to inspect what you expect.
What you expect. That's it.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to say that so I remember that. You have to inspect what you expect.
That's right. That's correct. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that we want to talk about on this topic, where we're talking about how do I encourage team members towards personal growth and development?
I don't think you can put enough emphasis on this. I think it's really important. I belong to a couple of social media platforms that have team member forums for certain industries that I'm involved with. And it's amazing how people go on there and just bash their managers, leaders, and business owners.
Yeah.
And if you want some good insight, go to those types of things and see what are people saying behind your back. Right. And a lot of it comes down to this kind of stuff. Those people that get on there and actually speak positively, they oftentimes talk about, hey, I just got back from this training program for this, or my manager just referred me to read this book. They feel better about themselves. But it's the ones who feel like they're constantly being used as a resource, you get used as a resource, that get the most bitter and resentful.
And that's not what we want.
That's not what you want. Yeah.
All right.
That's how I'd wrap it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's wrap this one up. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us today. And remember, building a team is the way to reclaim your freedom. And we're here to help you with our course and community, and of course, our white glove service, where we find a rock star virtual assistant for you. 3 things we'd love for you to do, and we'd really, really appreciate it. Subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already done so, either on your phone, your iPhone, or your Android phone. And then, of course, on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and clicking on the little bell next to it. Hopefully you get reminders. And then number 2, give us a rating, preferably 5-star, or leave a comment below this video, any comment or a question, maybe your ideas of how you yourself have been personally developed, how you learn, what skills that have made a big difference in your life. That will help get the conversation going, and that will help others. The more you talk about how successful you've been, or even where you've failed, it will help others, and it will help us to get the word out. And then number 3 is go to HireMyVA.com for more information on our course and community and our white glove service. Remember, even without experience, you'll learn how to prepare for, hire, and thrive with virtual assistants. Larry, we got more people signing up for our white glove service. We're excited to work with them on it. It's making a huge difference in their business. You want to know more about all of this stuff, just go to HireMyVA.com.
Yeah. Hey, folks, I'm going to keep it really brief this week. God bless you. God keep you. God hold you. All right, my friends, go get them. Have a great week. We'll see you.
All right. Bye, everybody.